My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome, a very warm welcome back to Railway Empire and part 2 of our playthrough of the Commodore scenario. In part 1 we achieved one of the hardest tasks in the entire game really, which is transporting 1,000 passengers from New York to Buffalo without stopping. Now, achieving the task itself isn't too difficult, however doing it in the first 2 years that you have, the first 24 months, is difficult, or it can be very difficult, and it does require some luck. However, as we can see, we have managed to do that. This will be the final episode of this scenario, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lot of editing in this episode, because I don't want to have happen what happened in our automobile scenario, where we had to run into 3 parts, and the third part was very, very short because there was very little left to do. So be prepared for quite a few cuts or time lapses, if you will, in this episode. You're not going to miss anything too informative, to be honest. The rest of this scenario is now fairly straightforward, and there's no great insightful tips or tricks or tactics that I'm going to show you in order to achieve a gold tick on the rest of these. You can do these relatively straightforward from here on out. So yes, what we're going to focus on is getting as many cities connected up now as we can, do some really quick expansion between all of our various cities to get our economy absolutely flying. So the first thing we're going to do is head down to Buffalo, and then from to Baltimore. Then from Baltimore it's to Washington, then to Norfolk, all the way down here, starting to connect into these southern cities. So a lot of these connections and rail setups down here may be cut out, but there's not going to be anything that we've not seen already. It's just point-to-point connections with dedicated stations, and we're going to be running, where possible, passenger and mail lines where they're beneficial, such as Norfolk and Wilmington, where they have conflicting industries. Our spy returned the Tyson 10 wheeler, which is not as fast as the Rensselaer. As we can see, it's 3 miles an hour slower, so we're not going to swap out our Rensselaer for the Tyson 10 wheeler, but we do want that Rogers American as soon as we're able. So yes, I'll just leave it here, because all we're doing, as I said, is expanding between various cities on our map and getting lines set up between them. If they have complementary industries such as New York and Baltimore, then they will run automatic lines. If they have competing industries, then we are going to go with passenger and mail lines, and where we use passenger and mail lines, we're also going to use the mail cars and the dining cars as well. Okay, so that express line from New York to Toledo has now been completed. We didn't have to do anything over and above that we did in episode 1. There were no further changes. We've not changed out the loco or the staff or redone the track to make it more direct. It's just happened to tick over in the background, so that's task taken care of, so we can put that out of our minds now, and as I said, just continue on with this city to city expansion. Where we are doing passenger and mail lines, we are going to run our express trains, so that as it stands is the Rensselaer. Obviously once we get
connected cities has reached a respectable size.
Once we get access to the Rogers American, we'll replace the Rensselaers with those locos. And as you heard there, we've also now grown Buffalo to 70,000, I believe it is. So that's that task ticked off with a golden check mark as well. So these are the two we're focusing on at the moment, and then obviously buying out our competitors, and I'll include that in the footage when we get to that stage. But as I said, for now it is just a case of putting down lots of stations and a lot of tracks between the remaining cities that we have available to us. One thing I'm going to do is, when we have automatic lines, I am now going to switch to using the Tyson 10 wheeler, and that's what we use there for that line between Norfolk and Washington, because it is an automatic line because they have complementary industries. And eventually, when we can, we will swap out all of our trains for the Tyson 10-wheelers. Well, apart from our passenger trains, of course, we'll not swap those out. We'll keep those as either the Rensselaer or the Rogers American as soon as we unlock that locomotive. We can now unlock the Rogers American, so that's what we're going to do here, and we are going to replace all of our Rensselaers with the Rogers American for a cost of 372,000. So we'll do that now. As you can see, we've got down as far as Charleston, so the next city we're going to go to is Charlotte, and we're going to go from Wilmington to Charlotte. So to do that, we're going to have to expand the station we have in Wilmington, and then obviously put down a station in Charlotte as well. And again, this is just the usual thing, making sure we have the maintenance sheds, putting in that direct connection between the two cities. Let's just avoid disrupting the natives there. Yep, that's a fair enough line. And again, what we're going to do is just continue this process of expanding between the cities, because this is obviously increasing the overall length of our rail network, which is one of the tasks, and it's getting us ever closer to connecting to 12 cities, which is another of the tasks that we have to achieve. So as we connect into Jacksonville here, we will see that will get us that task of connecting to 12 cities. We currently sit at 11 cities in total. Just fine-tuning the line position there so we don't have an elongated bridge unnecessarily. There we go, that's the 12 cities connected. And again, as I mentioned at the start, if they have competing industries, they're going to have passenger and mail lines. If they have complementary industries, then they're going to be automatic. The passengers and mail lines will run the Rogers American. The automatic lines will be running the Tyson 10-wheeler. And while these could supply each other with planks and cloth, I'm not too concerned about that. In fact, no, we will go for automatic. If they can supply something to another city, then we will keep them as automatic. So we are going to the Tyson 10-wheeler for these ones. And here we're not going to bother with the mail car and the dining car, because hopefully we're going to transport some freight between these two cities as well. So just taking any personnel we have. A reporter, we don't really need to worry about a reporter in all honesty. So now we have connected as many cities as we need. Of course, the more cities we have, the stronger economy we are going to have. And of course, the longer tracks we have, then we're going to hit that 7,400 or so miles of track we need to have in total. So we are gaining by doing all of this, not only from our economy, but obviously also from the total track length in our network. So even though you get that 12 city goal achieved, it is worthwhile continuing your expansion for those two reasons. So we're now at the stage where our competitors are constantly swiping our personnel, which is fine. While the office staff are nice, they are not make or break, of course. And all that's doing is making me aware of we do need to start putting our competitors out of business. And again, that's an added bonus to doing this rapid expansion here, this having a huge network with lots of cities connected, is we have a lot of incoming money which we can use to purchase our competitors' businesses and then liquidate them and alleviate ourselves of the annoyance of them constantly swiping our staff and having their faces pop up down here all the while. So yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to be looking at, is buying them out sooner rather than later. And as you can see, our money now, it's accumulating nice and quickly, so waiting around for the funds to buy out our competitors shouldn't take too long, really. So in terms of what technology we want from here on out, it really doesn't matter. There's nothing you need to make a beeline for or focus on from here on out, so just get whatever technology you think suits your purposes best at that current time. But yeah, there's no real strategy now required when it comes to selecting your tech, so like I said, just go for what feels best. What I'm going to do now is just repay both the bonds we have and open up some quite large bonds here and see how much of a dent we can start putting in our competitors. Yeah, we can get quite a big share of Johnson & Johnson here. And of course what we're going to do is when we purchase or when we buy out our competitors, we are going to just liquidate their assets for that cash boost and use that cash boost that we generate to purchase our next competitor, and hopefully we'll get into that self-feeding cycle there. So as we can see, after we just connected there between Knoxville and Pittsburgh, we're very close to hitting this 7,793 total track length. So what we're going to do next then is have a connection from Charlotte to Augusta that goes a little bit around the houses just to artificially inflate the length of the track. And then that should hopefully get us, if not over the goal line, it should get us close. Let's see. Yeah, so we need another 230 miles or so of track. And let's see here, why don't we do something a little silly, like just run a line randomly. I mean, we have the money to afford this. If we just run that line,
your tracks,
there we go, and then delete it, we still maintain completion of that objective, and it guarantees we get that golden check mark. So this is the last one we need to focus on, really. This will come far before this one, I've got no doubt about that. And in fact, we can start probably putting more money into our competitors, and we can, no, we're just short of enough to buy out Johnson & Johnson, but now we have enough.
You have taken over a competitor.
So let's merge together, liquidate everything, and then with the cash that frees up, we'll immediately plough it into Roger Smythe's business. And that's going to give us, 71% of the shares in Roger. How are we on our bonds, actually? Can we do anything with them just to get us over that line a little bit faster? Not yet. So at this point then, we are just going to literally wait around, let money build up in the background, and then start ploughing money into Roger Smythe's company, And once he's out of the way, then we're obviously going to turn our attention to Don Lorenzo, get him out of the picture, and then we're good. So it's going to cost us 2.3 million to finalise the purchase of Roger Smythe's business, and we're going to get there pretty soon. We are accumulating money at a very impressive rate at this point. So there we go, that's Roger taken care of. Merge and liquidate. And then as before, what money we've just freed up from that merger, we'll plough straight into Don Lorenzo. And again, now we're just going to wait around a little while and get enough money to completely outright purchase Don Lorenzo. And then we're going to liquidate him, and then that's all our competitors out of the way. Ah, an analyst, that's quite useful. Although we don't have a lot of money in the bank to really capitalise on the bonus that the analyst is going to give us. So we'll accumulate a little bit of money. Just keep an eye on the analysts, make sure they don't disappear. And as soon as we've got about 1.5 million, maybe 2 million to push, we will employ the analyst, set him to work reducing Don Lorenzo's share price, and then hopefully we'll have enough left over in reserve to finalise the merger between ourselves and Don Lorenzo there. So let's see, that's 1.8 million, that should be enough. Analyst Don Lorenzo reduce, yes. Head to our competitor screen and let's see, yeah, there we go.
You are peerless. None of your competitors can keep up with you.
There we go, so that's everything taken care of apart from getting a company value of 40 million. Now that's going to be relatively easy to do. What we're going to do first of all is get rid of the bonds. We don't need them anymore. It still leaves us 3 million in the bank, and we're just going to start buying up some industries in the various cities. So this meat industry, we're going to purchase that, and then we're going to upgrade it. We're then going to purchase hill cattle down here. We don't need to upgrade that, that's already at a decent level. Let's get the lumber industry as well there. We'll get this weaving factory and we'll demolish that, and we will go for that tailor that we wanted in episode 1, and then of course we'll start upgrading this tailor as soon as we can. That should now prompt the delivery of the cloth from Syracuse. And of course we're going to buy the weaving factory that is in Syracuse. We'll buy that, we're not going to use it, but it does add to company value, so why the heck not. What else? Is anything tech wise we could do with? Cheaper buildings is always nice, although we're not going to do much more building, to be honest. Well, I don't think we need to do much more building. Could we buy this grain farm? Yes. Let's buy that. How much is it then to purchase this weaving factory here in Syracuse? 1.7 million, no problem. Let's put a museum down in Syracuse as well, just to artificially inflate the population there. Okay, so now we should be able to buy this, unless it's gone up in price, which it probably has due to high utilisation. No, 1.7 million, we'll have that, thank you very much. 2 million to expand it, okay. How much to buy the cotton farm? 1.5. So we'll buy the cotton farm as well. We don't need to expand that, it's already a good output. So yes, this promoter will go to Buffalo, because why not? Can we buy that? Well, we can very shortly, so once we're able to, we will buy that industry, or that farm there, the sugar plantation. 600,000 or so, there we go. Brilliant. Could we buy this? Yes. Could we get it brought into Syracuse? Possibly, if we can afford and if we can squeeze in a large warehouse with signalling control. Just about. But is it? No, we'll leave that. Instead, we'll turn our attention to a different city. I'm going to say we'll go Toledo. We'll buy up the industries in Toledo, put a museum down as well, of course. because these should be relatively cheap because they are level 1. There we go. Do we want to keep... Yeah, we have cotton here, so that's fine. So what we're going to do first of all is expand our station in Toledo. And we're going to run in the... What do we need in here? Cattle, and we need cotton, which we have both of right here. So we're going to run in those 2 resources, and once again we're going to buy those. And we'll expand both of those to a slightly higher level. Yes. Like so. Put down the station at either industry. Connect them to our station in Toledo. We have 2 spare platforms here, so we can accommodate both of them very comfortably and without needing any extra infrastructure here. And we'll run the... Let's have a look. I guess it's going to be the Tyson 10-wheeler on the cotton line. Maybe the Rogers Mogul, actually. Let's just have a look. We'll take that. Let's see, 52%. Yeah, we'll go for the Rogers Mogul. And we'll have 3. Yeah, 3, just 3. We don't need 4. And then we'll do the same here from Young Breeding. Share the supply tower to save a little bit of money there. Great. That's the wrong platform. There we go. Let's just demolish that track so we make sure they are going to their own dedicated platform and not tripping over anything else that may be on its way in. Signals there and there. Fantastic. And then we'll have 3 trains bringing cattle to Toledo. Set it to freight only. You don't have to do that, of course, but I've done it now, so what the heck. Research, research, research. Just anything, as I said. There's nothing worth really making a beeline for here. Let's expand both of these once again, just to guarantee we can load up our trains almost instantly when they get to the station. Yes, so let's increase our industry sizes in Toledo, just for the extra money. So we're up to 36 million company value here. We can't afford to buy that. Hopefully we can get them. No, I don't think. Oh, we might do. No, we're not going to get the money before the auction expires, so we can't purchase that livestock farm, unfortunately. What we can do instead is, of course, upgrade our industries in Toledo here. 1.36 million for the weaving factory. And there we go. Wonderful. We may as well, if we can afford to, swap out all of our non-Rogers American trains with the Rogers Mogul. So that's all the Tyson 10-wheelers, all of the Dragons. Oh, and there we go. President rating. Let's have a look at the game data here. 3 years and 5 months, 40 million company value, 104 rail lines, 39 stations, just under 8,000 miles of track, 488 wagons on duty. And just to confirm this, we'll go back to the game screen, pause it and look at the task list. And it's always nice to see a complete set of golden ticks at the end. So there we go. That's the Commodore scenario taken care of with a perfect rating in terms of our tick marks, a president rating for our overall score. And while we didn't get the max possible ratings, of course we lose some on the manual pause mode. As long as we're getting all the objectives done in half time, we're going to get that president rating. So that's the 2 things we're going for here, the golden ticks and the president rating. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Obviously it's going to be quite truncated because of the either the jump cuts or the time lapses that I'll utilise when I did all this southern expansion here. But yeah, tasks completed. Another one ticked off. Next we'll head over to the west coast, I think, and maybe tackle the gold rush, because that can be quite a tricky one as well. So I think, yeah, we'll do the gold rush next. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. It probably wasn't as informative as the episode 1. However, you might have learned a few things there when it comes to increasing your company value, which is, of course, buy up as many industries and as many profitable industries as you can, expand any industries that you have where possible, and yeah, then your company value does just start to balloon. I think we doubled it in about 6 months, 12 months there, which is very, very impressive. And that's, as I said, owed all to just buying up all those industries and expanding them when we could. So all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.